Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global Wellness for All podcast. My name is Laleh Hancock, and I have the great pleasure of being your host every single week, bringing in conversations, tools, resources to bringing more wellness and well-being in all aspects of our lives, whether it's relationships, it's finances, business, our bodies and mental health, whether it's having more communion with our magical earth or bringing more awareness and consciousness in everything that we're choosing. So thank you so much for being here. Well, hello everyone to Global Wellness for All podcast. My name is Laleh Hancock, and today I don't even know how to describe you, Chrissy. You are one of the greatest gifts that came into my life during COVID.
Wow. Thank you so much for this acknowledgement. How does it get any better?
Yeah. And actually, if people go back to the previous, like the early days of the podcast, because this podcast got created during lockdown. And I recall you were one of the very few people I brought on talking about your women's symposium that you'd created. Yeah.
Yes,
and yeah. Okay. So everyone else, this is Chrissy Dorn. Hello, Chrissy.
hello. Very nice to meet you. I brought my friends, as you can see.
Yes. And you've got some beautiful friends behind you who are supporting you, who have your back.
Yes.
And, today is my last day in Budapest, as I'm going to travel to Paris. And I just was so reminded being here and going to a place called Page that I used to call Pecs Hungry, is how much we're aware of nature, how much we're aware of the changes with the planet. I mean, originally I wasn't coming here. I was going to do this particular training online. And there was this pull that just kept pulling me, but I didn't know where I was being pulled to. And until I talked to a friend and it kind of clicked, like when he said Page, I'm like, that's where I'm going. And getting there, I realized, there were some fires the day I made my choice to come. And a lot of the trees, were burnt down. And there's been a drought, not a lot of rain coming. And I realized, sometimes when we think about sustainability of the planet, it's so going to the action of, did I recycle my can? And if I did, I am sustainable, or I'm making the earth sustainable. And yeah, that's one action, right? But when I arrived, and there's no words for it, it was interesting. The 3 days I was there, it rained the whole time. It hasn't rained in months. They've only had these little scattered little trickles, And so like when we talk about, our topic of sustainability way beyond the obvious, I really wanted to have this conversation with you before I departed hungry and went to France. And departed, So, okay, first, I know I brought a lot of stuff up, but can you let people know a little bit more about you? You've done so much in the world of nature, the earth, and sustainability, and really creating with the future. And so can you just take a few minutes, let people know a little bit more about Chrissy, and what does that even mean?
Well, the sustainability done different and creating greater future beyond the obvious is the tagline on my website. And I've been creating with amazing brands for the last nearly 40 years, not only originally deriving from hotel business and already being or creating with hotels that did things differently, giving a different type of luxury or five-star luxury, but always having a very ethical and sustainable part to it, whereby, for example, the hotel that I was working in Paris, they were the ones that were hiding a lot of people in the Second World War. Nobody knows about this. So I didn't even know about this when I was working there, but at the same time, it's like my energy got me there. It was the one hotel I wanted to go into, and I went to every single hotel and asked if I can work there. This was the last one. I wanted to work there, and it was the one that said yes straight away. So I always had this sense to connect, to link up with true sort of visionaries and mavericks of the industry I was then going into, which was the outdoor and mountaineering industry. And just one example, Yvon Chouinard of Patagonia Incorporate, a company, an outdoor brand that truly did things different. They tried to ban all the many dams that were cutting off natural water resorts and natural water flows. They really did so much for the environment. They bought up sorry, that was my alarm. They bought up rainforests, they bought up regions in Argentina and gave them to the government to turn them into natural preserves and natural forests and regions. So it always drew me into those companies that did things different, because I always knew there was a different way of nowadays doing sustainability different. It's way beyond having your glass bottle and not using plastic. It's way beyond that. It includes the whole benevolence at work at the same time. And I mean, let's face it, how many companies, when they produce their revenue, when they go for profit all the time, how many of those think of the planet? How many of those are asking the question, what will this create? What will create greater? So all these companies I was working with, and I was also helping to get into the European market and building up the brand from scratch. It was always from that different thought of how can we make things different? What makes us stand out? What makes us contribute to the planet?
And, just so we all know, we all love profits. Profits are required to grow a business, for you to be able to create and do the things you want to do. But talk more about benevolent capitalism, because that's looking at it from a very different angle.
Yeah. So what does the word benevolence mean to everyone who's listening now and who will be listening in the future? Could that also be that you're asking every single person in your company, they might have been employed for a specific job, but there might be a greater contribution in a totally different job with something that they actually love contributing to your company, where they might be even better than you. And, some of those CEOs, whoever it is, they might say, no, I don't want anybody in my company who does things better than me. But what if that exactly is that contribution that brings you a greater profit? Because they're all going to be more collaborative with each other. They're happier in what they do for you. You can have totally different meetings as well. And that already is a benevolence at work, benevolence with your employees, with the entire company culture. So I'm creating with a company that is based in the UK. When the founder and CEO decided to retire, he didn't just sell it off to a competitor who would kill it because the brand is better, the product is better than theirs. He gave it to his employees. They created an employee ownership trust, which is headed by 2 people from the outside, is headed by 2 people from inside. And then every employee working for this company is co-owner. I'm getting goosebumps every time I talk about this.
Me too. That's such a cool, I love that.
So what does that mean? That they are all part of the company, and the year-long, the 40-year-long, getting goosebumps everywhere now, the 40-year-long company culture is being saved with that employee ownership trust, the EOT, which is very popular in the US and the UK, not so in Germany at all. So what would it take for company owners, and even whatever it is, to truly look at what they can contribute to the company, to the brand, to the entire culture? Because there's also a benevolence that you can do with the company culture, i.e. an EOT.
But I'm going to tell you, there was a moment in my life where I was an executive in the not-for-profit world in America. And it's the biggest misled thing. It doesn't mean there's no profit. It just means that you have a special tax license That means
Yes.
at the end of it, invest back in the people, invest back in the organization, invest back in the futures that you want to create. And
Yeah.
so often when I was consulting, even with them, it was amazing, like how many of them believe they shouldn't have profit. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But when people think of benevolence, a lot of times they think of charity, you
Yeah,
know,
it's not the same. It's something it's a different energy.
well,
Totally different.
benevolent from day one, the meaning was a contribution to everyone,
Yeah,
you
wishing
know,
well for all. Yeah.
wishing well for all.
Yeah.
And capitalism was about trading. You know, it
Yeah.
was like, here, hey, I have a cow, you have fabric, let's swap. And that was
Yes.
capitalism. But after a while, carrying your cow everywhere was not so easy.
Yeah, so you have those IOU, the IOU pieces of papers, like I owe you 3 cows and you owe me 5 packs of rice or something. Yes, much lighter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put in your pocket.
So all those commitments of the IOUs, maybe we should erase them all now from all those lifetimes. Anyway,
Yes,
but
please.
yeah. But the point I'm making here is that it not every organization is going to choose what that company chose, you know, making it be a fully employee owned organization. But
Yeah.
what can we put in place so that we're actually gifting and receiving and including people, their ideas, their creativity, and what they are aware of the future, you know? So often I see how people say, okay, let's do a strategic plan. And I advise them on that. Okay. But they're just thinking 5 years out, you know, and it's just to make it be a check mark. It's not even like, they're not really even invested in that. They're more invested in, did we do what we were supposed to do? Did we come together? Yeah. Okay. Now we're going there. Okay. But it becomes a piece of paper. It becomes this thing that just sits there instead of really true sustainability is being in question continuously.
Yeah, and
You
what
know?
if that totally changes around your list, your to-do list, your list of priorities, your statistics? I mean, what are statistics? You can have the best statistics in the world if it doesn't create more for the planet in not only 5 years, but also 50, 500 years time. But companies don't think that way. If we had more conscious millionaires, conscious billionaires, what would that create for the entire planet? And we really, really have to change the way we think. You can't just go with the statistics. You can't just go with, yeah, great, you know, if we have the sort of the ROI to whatever, it's, what does that create if you don't include the people? If you have everybody fighting like mad and working 14, 16 hours shifts, they're going to be sick all the time. We have a lot of companies in Germany where you have a very high sick rate, because they're reducing, for example, the hotel and the restaurant business. They have no one wanting to work there because it's so much hard work, and they're not willing to pay the amount, and they're not really treating their people in the way that they should be treated. And they have to work on the guests. They have to be the cool and relaxing and friendly person. And that is also benevolent capitalism. It's all part of it. Also the company culture and the people.
You know, that's actually why we created Global Wellness for All.
Oh,
I
yes.
was consulting with Bella Pimo, working with executives, working with different parts of the organization, and noticing how much, if something was going on in the CEO's world or the executive team or whatever, whether it was a divorce, a health situation, you know, they fought with their children, whatever, like whatever they were bringing in was this domino effect of what was being created in the organization. And the lack of engagement, you know, people desire to sleep in and call in sick versus actually getting up and being inspired because they didn't feel their voice was being heard. And so, you know, that's why we created it. It's because it was about bringing wellness, whether it's your body, your mind, your spirit, but it's your career, it is your finances, it is your relationship, but it's also this communion we have with the earth and bringing more awareness and consciousness. And that's our 6 pillars within Global Wellness for All. And it is. And it's like, you know, I was having dinner the other night here in Hungary with an entrepreneur who built a really amazing app for the telecommunication industry. And he was so frustrated because the government put in some sanctions to take his business away. And they did. And he was so angry, he moved to Dubai instead. And I was asking questions, and it was this interesting thing of not feeling like his voice was heard. And that's the thing we hear so often in businesses. And we also talked about not just the hotel and restaurant industry, but what's happening globally since the onset of this craziness of COVID, how people are actually, some making more money, staying at home, drinking, whatever they're doing, watching TV, than they were engaged at work. And so the incentive hasn't been for a large community of people that used to be the resources at the hotels or whatever. Even in Portugal, I stay in this beautiful hotel. And the last time I was there, I've stayed there a lot. I was there for over 9 months during COVID. And it's a 5-star, and just the staff is so incredible. The nature, the land there is so beautiful. But the way they treated people is getting worse and worse and worse. They're looking to sell the organization. Like, no one's supposed to know, but I got this feeling that actually what they're doing is they're getting ready to sell it. And so at this point, it's not about the people, it's just about ranking up the daily rates and making that financial books look good for acquisition. And
yes, where's that taking you? Where's that taking this organization? Nowhere.
But when you actually hear what's happening with the staff who has the direct contact with the clients, like I've had multiple times, I could have gone back to Portugal, do my little hops there. I've chosen against it because that's the property I like to stay at. And I'm like, right now, I don't want to deal with the chaos of what they have going on in their business. The lack of respect, the lack of engagement. And so often, like you said before, it's not just about the
turnover, the profit.
Ledger. Yeah, it's not just about that. It's how are you engaging and giving your staff voice? And it is part of sustainability, Go ahead.
But then isn't that where sustainability starts? It starts with you. Oh, you went from a cup to a glass. Congratulations. You are living very sustainably. I remember the time when I was working at the reception of a hotel in Nuremberg, together with a friend. We were checking out all those grumpy business people. Morning, and morning. And we made a competition out of making everybody smile before they left. And it worked. So we had a lot of goosebumps again. We had a lot of regulars. And when they saw us at the reception, sort of coming out of the elevator, oh, hello. And so what if that already is the energy? And we were laughing, and we were looking very similar, both tall and blonde, and we had a similar signature and whatever. And so they were all sort of making this joke about, who is who again, even though they might have been there 10 times in a row. So what if it all starts with you? What if that is the sustainability that starts with you, whether you are a CEO, whether you are a sole trader, whether you are an employee, a group head, whatever. When you think, oh my God, this has been so awful. Where is this going to take me? Oh my God, my team, I don't even know how to integrate them. They're all like social misfits, and they have to be reintegrated into society, the same as after a long operation, and having to reintegrate them hour by hour by hour. It starts with you. If you are the company leader, if you are the group head, or even me as a sole trader, and you're coming in like, hi, what's happening? What else is possible? You're already changing the energy. What if it's all about changing the energy by you being in the question, always asking, okay, how does it get any better than this? Because then other people are not having a chance if you're not buying into their grumpiness. Isn't that what it's all about? That's where sustainability starts for me.
It's so true. And you know what? It's actually been proven. Studies have shown that when you are grateful for the plant, how much it thrives and grows. It's the same thing with our planet. The more we are willing to laugh, the more we're willing to actually have joy, the more we perceive there's possibilities. It's incredible how much we can have a thriving planet.
Yeah.
But what's actually killing the planet more than anything else, more than the cans, which I'm all about recycling, is our willingness to stop judging, stop looking at glass half empty, because all we do is be that frequency and attract more of that to ourselves. So if you guys are looking at, and we have to, this is no longer, do you desire to bring a thriving planet in place? It's no longer that. Do you desire in 15 years to have a body? That's really what it's coming down to. We cannot wait much longer. We got to get under this, not under it, but like get on and start with ourselves, start implementing it, and you become the conduit, you become the catalyst of change. Because that moment, notice when you walk somewhere and everyone's all grumpy and you're happy, guess what? Don't become their grumpy. Don't become that equilibrium. Be that force that makes, if they choose it, that you become that power of catalyst of bringing a different frequency, different energy to it. And, you know, I have twin girls who are 26, and I would like them to have a life to live beyond, 40 years old. So I am looking at one day being a grandma if they want to have kids, and so each of us has to take action today. So Chrissy, we're almost done here for today's show. Can you give us 2 or 3 tools? I know you already put a whole bunch out there, so if anyone wanted to replay this and hear them again, but 3 actions that today we can each take to really create a sustainable planet.
Yeah, so first of all, it's when you are truly grateful for your body, first of all. Our bodies are an extension of the earth, the same way as it is a tree, a plant, a rose, whatever, an animal. So if we are asking our body every morning, okay, hey body, what can I contribute to you today? We're asking the earth at the same time. And most of the time, it will tell us, just relax and start receiving. It's also all about receiving. It's about gifting and receiving. And that is when you are willing to receive, you automatically also gift. And it's not this sort of linear give and take. It's gifting, and you might receive from somewhere totally different. It's not like I give you €5, you give me €5. So that's one thing. The next thing is always asking, what is my reality here? And when you're talking about the judgments, what if there's no conclusions, no judgments, no projections, no expectations from which you might be judging, from which you might be separating yourself from other people, but then you will also be separating yourself, from your body, from your life. So when you stay in the question of what's truly my reality here, what works for me, what do I know? And then being with you, being present with your energy and being the inspiration by shining rather than buying yourself into the sickness and judgments from other people. Because how many people would like to control you by telling you all about the crap that they've got going on? So many people don't even want you to be thriving. They want you to stay where they are, because otherwise they have to change as well. Have you noticed? Just one example. At some point, shortly after COVID started, I had this I woke up in the morning and there was this kind of volcano that everybody was standing around, this really dark hole. And it was a weird situation. And I just literally turned around and walked away. And everybody was looking at me like, where's she going? What's she doing now? We're all supposed to stand here and jump in. No, it's your own choice. Whatever you choose with that choice of what works for you and creates greater, when you ask, what inspiration can that be for everybody else? To look at and say, oh, wow, she's really doing it. I didn't think she would. Oh my God, she does it. And that already, and you don't have to drag anybody along. You don't have to tell everybody you have to do it because this is the right way. This is your choice, just for you. And what if that is already the inspiration for everybody else?
I don't know. I think you gave more than 3, but did you give?
No,
3?
it was 3. It was really only 3. Was it 3? It was 3 and 3.
So So Chrissy, how can people find you? Where are you these days?
I'm at a beautiful lake in Bavaria called Lake Tegernsee, which has changed my reality. And you can find me online on chrissydorn.com. That's fairly easy. We will write it below.
It's actually going to be in the show notes as well. And we'll have it here because we're also on Facebook as well. And we'll be airing on YouTube and everywhere else. So you guys will have all the details to get a hold of Chrissy. And actually, Chrissy and I are both Joy of Business facilitators, as well as being you facilitators. And one of the greatest
gifts, relationships done different facilitators.
Yes, right. And one of the great gifts actually is that each of us every day being you. And it's so interesting because this topic you guys can learn more about on another show. But we function so much from not being ourselves in a given day, So when you ask, what is my reality here? Just ask that question. And you'll notice that you are not part of the carrot soup that you've been hanging out in. That equilibrium of allowing everyone's negativity, problems, whatever, trauma, drama to suck you in. And what would your business be like if you were actually being more of you and being willing to actually have more fun, being willing to have more of that, really the things that are going to assist the thriving planet, which is you being more of you and going and leading and going to those places that bring you more joy. And so just wanted to kind of leave that with people so that we'll also put the Joy of Business information here, the being you and your relationship done different as well, because it really is that each of us plays a role in the future of our planet. You're just going to have to choose what role are you willing to take today. And it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. During this moment, what would you like your role to be? Would you like to be part of the equilibrium, or would you like to actually create something different?
Yeah. And what if you could actually have a lot of fun with that?
Yeah, truly.
So-called joy in business and doing it a totally different way than ever before. And that doesn't mean that you have to create your own company, that you have to be CEO before you start. It can also be with whatever job you're doing right now, whatever position you're in. And what if the purpose of life is actually to have fun?
Well, what if they're a stay-at-home parent too? Because it's about this whole thing is the business of your life. Our businesses, our jobs, our careers are part of the business of our lives. So maybe I'll bring you on another day. We could talk more about that because that's a whole other world that we could be having.
That's what my Women's Symposium was all about, to really make women realize they also have a business. They also have their own company, which is a family business. Yes, let's do that another time. Joy of business. How much joy can you have in your life and your business? And what if it's all your life and all your business? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone who is watching now or listening or watching in the future. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much for being here, whether you were listening or watching live or on a replay. We are so grateful for you. We want to hear from you. What would you like to hear about? What are topics that get you excited and you would like to know more about? You can message us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or even sending us a message at globalwellnessforall.com/contact. And also, would you be willing to assist us? Would you be willing to contribute spreading these seeds of wellness and well-being to others? And as always, we are so happy you're here and what is truly possible with our amazing planet the minute we're willing to have more wellness and well-being. See you next time.